Hello everyone. Now you'll hear a brief retelling of the film Tupac, Legend. Its plot is based on real events. 1995. A documentary filmmaker comes to prison to interview Tupac Shakur. The famous rapper wants to tell the story of his life in case someone tries to kill him. 1971. Afeni Shakur, a member of the Black Panthers, walks out of a courthouse and tells a journalist that she will keep fighting for true freedom for her people and for her child. The future star was raised not by his biological father, but by another committed activist, Mutulu. The man declares that everyone gathered must be ready to die for their ideas. 8 years later, the FBI is searching for Mutulu for the murder of two police officers, and Afeni realizes she's also being watched by federal agents. Yet Mutulu calmly waits at home for his family, warning Afeni that he will disappear for a while. On Christmas, FBI agents break into the apartment. One of them claims that Mutulu robbed a bank. Because of this, the family is forced to move to another city. Afeni tells her son it's not about robbery. The real reason is that Mutulu is a threat to white society. He's a revolutionary, and I will be a revolutionary too. Baltimore, 1987. -1-year-old Laysane, Tupac's birth name, attends an art school. There he meets and begins dating Jada Pinkett. Mutulu is found and imprisoned, while Tupac's biological father never shows up. Another man enters the family, Lex. He can't even read, but he helps with food and money. Lex lectures Tupac about life, then suddenly attacks a passerby who turns out to be a debtor. Tupac's mother is constantly depressed. She tells her children that they must move to California until she sorts things out. Tupac tells Jada about the move and reads her a romantic poem he wrote especially for her. In California, he and his sister end up living in the ghetto. On the very first day, they witness their neighbor stabbing her husband to death. Tupac drops out of school. He wants to make money through rap and attends a poetry and hip-hop workshop run by Leila Steinberg. She quickly arranges an audition for him with Digital Underground. Shock G signs the young talent after the very first audition and takes him on tour in 1990. Returning home, a joyful Tupac gives his sister pocket money, but his mood quickly changes. His mother shows up, buying drugs from local dealers. Tupac yells at her and storms out. He rushes into the studio, telling Shock G that he's tired of being a backup and wants to do his own thing. Shock G jokingly dismisses him, but then offers him to perform same song, which becomes a hit. Tupac starts writing songs for his first album and works tirelessly in the studio. The same year, he lands his first lead role in the film Juice, which boosts his visibility. Fans begin asking him for autographs. Producer Ted Field is displeased to hear that his daughter's favorite Tupac track is I Don't Give a F. He and colleagues at Interscope Records asked Tupac to cut one song from the album, a track about a 12-year-old pregnant girl selling herself and drugs. They argue it's too depressing and people want entertainment, but Tupac insists on telling real stories from black neighborhoods and eventually convinces them. A video for the song is filmed. Tupac persuades his mother to go to rehab. One day, crossing the street illegally, he's grabbed, choked, and beaten by police. Later in Oakland, while hanging out with friends in the park, local guys accuse him of becoming arrogant and neglecting the streets. Tupac verbally shuts them down, pointing out that they're doing nothing meaningful with their lives. A fight breaks out, shots are fired, and a 6-year-old boy is accidentally killed. Tupac visits Mutulu in prison. Mutulu suggests uniting gangs with revolutionaries. The journalist remarks that Tupac seems to want to create a positive movement for black people by using the negative symbolism of gang life. And strangely, after the tragic park incident, Tupac releases a flashy video about luxury rather than social issues. Jada sees the video full of half-naked women and feels Tupac has lost his way. He surprises her with a visit, but she, too, has moved forward in her career. At a family holiday, Afeni returns from rehab and everyone is happy. But the celebration is marred by the vice president publicly condemning Tupac's music and calling for his album to be banned. Afeni fears her son now has a target on his back, like other black leaders. 1993. In New York, at his album release party, Tupac lashes out at the vice president, calling him a loser. He brings his friend Biggie Smalls on stage. Later, surrounded by women in a hotel room, Tupac urges Biggie to use his influence on the people. But Biggie is content just selling records. Tupac quarrels with his Interscope manager about money. On his way out, he meets Suge Knight, who tells him to come to him for anything. At a club, Notorious introduces Tupac to Nigel, a powerful gangster. Nigel showers him with gifts, but Biggie warns Tupac to be cautious. Tupac starts working with Death Row Records under Suge Knight, earning much more money. Friends hint that Suge's wealth comes from crime, but Tupac doesn't care. Black women's organizations condemn gangster rap for its violent, misogynistic lyrics, though in clubs, young women love it. One night, Tupac defends a black man being beaten by two attackers. When threatened with a gun, Tupac shoots back, injuring one. But the attackers turn out to be undercover cops, and Tupac is arrested. Lucky for him, Hayes soon released officers mishandled evidence. At the club, Nigel introduces Tupac to a girl named Brianna. After spending the night, she later accuses Tupac of assault when she reappears with Nigel. Tupac insists he never touched her, but Hayes arrested. In court, Brianna points at Tupac. Even though there's no real evidence against him, Nigel escapes charges thanks to his connections. Media coverage ruins Tupac's contracts, shows are cancelled, and he loses a film role. November 30th, 1994. Entering a recording studio, Tupac is ambushed by Nigel's men and shot 5 times. Authorities dismiss it as a robbery. Biggie's outraged when he isn't allowed to visit Tupac in the hospital. In court, Tupac is acquitted of rape, but convicted of inappropriate conduct, sentenced to 1.5 to 4 years in prison. Behind bars, he has no privileges. Meanwhile, his album debuts at 1 on Billboard the first time in history. Tupac concludes his troubles are due to those around him. Hearing Biggie's track Who Shot Ya, he suspects his former friends' involvement in the ambush. Afeni visits, reminding him that the system is trying to break him, as it once broke her. Bail is set at $1.4 million, money Tupac doesn't have. Desperate, he turns to Suge Knight, who pays in exchange for a contract, 3 albums with Death Row Records, $1 million each, but Tupac must cut ties with his old manager. On release, Hayes greeted like royalty with cash, weed, and gold. He records with Dr. -1, meets Snoop Dogg, and attends Suge's violent family banquets. Though uneasy, Tupac pretends to laugh along. He begins dating Kidada Jones. At death row parties, he taunts Biggie's wife Faith Evans, and soon releases the infamous track, Hit 'Em Up, sparking a full-blown East Coast-West Coast feud. Jada confronts him, asking why Hayes abandoned his old ideals of unity. Kidada eventually accepts his love, but Tupac confides he wants to leave Death Row and go independent. Suge Knight instead offers to make him head of Death Row East, a move that would put him right in enemy territory. Soon after, Tupac hears Snoop call Biggie his friend on the radio and angrily lashes out even at Suge. On a plane, no one speaks to Snoop, who hides a knife out of fear. September 7th, 1996. Mike Tyson invites Tupac to his fight in Las Vegas. After the match, Tupac attacks a man who had previously assaulted one of Suge's associates. Kidada is upset he promised her he'd quit Death Row. That night, Tupac leaves with Suge for a club, asking Kidada to wait in the hotel. At a stoplight, women in one car recognize him, but from the other side, a Cadillac pulls up. Gunfire erupts. Tupac is hit 4 times. 6 days later, his death is announced. Tupac Shakur was only 25 years old. To this day, his murder remains unsolved.